Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and as I'm sure a lot of you know, I took a trip up to Canada in, specifically Southern Ontario in most of January. And since I've been up there, I shot a bunch of videos at a bunch of different game stores. And the first one I did was my all-time favorite, Toyratt. And I actually already did a video on that. It was a guided tour where we went around the store and kind of looked at everything. But I shot a lot of extra footage, just kind of a more personal tour. So I thought, what the hell? I'll release the footage, and I'll also use this as a good excuse, I think, to show you guys the pickups I got. So in that first area you saw, there's a lot of boom boxes, and there's a lot of controllers and peripherals and things like that. And then we get into the games. Lots of PSP, which I might be picking up more stuff for soon. You guys would have, presumably you guys already saw that. I got hooked up with a free PSP, so I might start getting more stuff for that. PS3 games, he's got a bunch of those now. He's also got arcade sticks. Now, I never really thought about this because I don't buy arcade sticks, but there was a lot of people in the comments mentioning, like, holy shit, you don't see arcade sticks at game stores particularly often. And I'm like, is that true? Because I never really look for arcade sticks. I never really think to look for them. But yeah, you guys tell me if that's true or not. So a lot of a Wii and Xbox 360, a couple of Wii U games kind of scattered in there. His PS Vita, he's got a little bit of that. PS4 and Xbox One, a little bit of that. There's Scott the Canadian, my buddy, and then my girlfriend, the evil Mrs. Claus. Now this section here, it's kind of pointless to show you this because he changed this since I shot this footage, but this is all like the high demand games. A lot of games when people come in, this is the most likely ones they're going to be looking for. Now he moved all that stuff, and it's a lot of vinyl records right there now, so you can see what it did look like last month, or at least at the time I released this video. But yeah, all sorts of cool stuff there. It's not like he got rid of that stuff, he just moved it. So you got a lot of glass cases and stuff with all sorts of things in it, boxes that have, each one of those apparently is not empty. They actually have the console in there, which is cool because a lot of those are like rarer versions, like the R7 Dreamcast and stuff like that. There's an Atari 5200, GameCube, of course, lots of stuff for that. 2600. That's actually a BioShock 2 vinyl record. I didn't know that until after I left, and he mentioned it in one of the videos he does on his channel, and I was like, really? They put, okay. TurboGrafx 16 there, some N64, a lot of box stuff. The higher end demanded, the high demand box stuff, if you will. Again, more just stuff. Neo Geo in the box, it looks like, which I don't know. I don't think I noticed that when I was there. Yeah, more stuff like that. And then there's some DVDs and Blu-rays over there. Lots of vinyl records. He's really getting into vinyl records because I guess the market for that right now is kind of blowing up, which would take me by surprise because I don't know much about vinyl or music, but I guess that's cool. I have a few of them just from albums I got for video games, and thanks to a guy named Spock Avriel for hooking me up with a vinyl record player. I can actually use them. But anyway, back over here to the point. There's a lot of PS1 stuff you saw there. Boxed N64, SNES, DS, loose cartridges of both as well. There's some consoles here. There's some clone Famicoms, a Super Nintendo Junior, another arcade stick, a PAL Super Nintendo, the Sharp Twin Famicom, which is really cool. I'd love to get one of those one day. PS Vita, sorry, that's where the Vita stuff is. N-Gage, some Super Famicom as well. A lot more NES over here, and some consoles above it, Genesis and Mega Drive, and more arcade sticks, and the Power Glove, and Famicom, and boxed Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, etc. All over there. There's a lot of loose Genesis and boxed Genesis. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. There's some little bit of 32X hiding down there. Sega Master System in the corner there. Loose Genesis. There's a little bit of boxed Mega Drive up there, Japanese Mega Drive. And I guess it's kind of scattered throughout. There might be some PAL Mega Drive in there too, but I didn't really think to look for it. Boxed Game Gear, which you don't see that particularly often. Yeah, like I said, more. There's Master System, a Coleco Gemini. Shout out to a guy named Ivan who hooked me up with one of those. A Vectrex, which is really very cool. I'd love to get one of those one day. I will at some point. At some point, I'm going to find one and I'm going to buy it. Atari 800 computer, Atari 2600 carts, some 7800 carts, and 5200 carts. A Tandy Vision edition, Coleco Vision. Say that 3 times fast. Or not ColecoVision, it was in Intellivision. Tandy Vision edition Intellivision. Okay, there's a ColecoVision, and there's all sorts of stuff. A lot of 70s era console stuff there. PS Vita, more boxed Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color. Game Boy printer there, just making a cameo. There's another one actually back there. Like I said, more Game Boy Advance down there. Various DS and 3DS units. Game Boy Advance units. Some in the box. Game Boys, obviously. Binders with games in them. Some rarer items like Flintstones for the NES and I forget, Hagane, the Blockbuster exclusive for Super Nintendo. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. The Fat Edition PS3. The early one that probably plays all the stuff. Look at that. One of the holy grails for the Saturn, Mega Man 8. That is a very hard game to find in the North American Sega Saturn library. Yeah, there's a nice quick look at the place. Of course, he's got a lot of wrestling figures. He likes that. Lots of stuff up there. I don't know if I showed you this already. I don't think I did. Lots of box stuff up there, but a lot of PlayStation 2 all over the place. And as you can see, a lot of consoles there. And a lot of original Xbox, including, look at that. I love that Crystal Xbox. I'm jealous we never got that in the U.S. And yeah, a lot of original Xbox games, a lot of GameCube stuff. Sega CD there. You can also see the multicolored variants for the N64 and 64 cartridges as well. Like I said, there's a lot of Xbox and a lot of GameCube and N64, Sega CD. He's also got some Saturn over there, as you can see on the left, or you will probably. Sorry, I was kind of like walking around a person when I was filming this. Yeah, look at that. More Sega CD and Sega Saturn. And over on the left, on the farthest end here, you got some more of your obscure stuff, like the long box PS1 games, 3DO, Neo Geo CD, Mega CD, TurboGrafx and TurboGrafx CD, Neo Geo AES, Neo Geo CD, Dreamcast. Dreamcast isn't that obscure, but it's like, that's just kind of where it gets put, because nobody ever really tends to have a giant Dreamcast library. God of War Edition PS3, that blue N64, Genesis, Game Gear stuff, custom decal GameCube, PS2, Crystal Xbox. Don't forget these prices are Canadian, so at the time of this video anyway, the exchange rate was like 70 cents to $1. So if you're looking at a price and you're an American, subtract basically 30%, and that's what you'd end up with in USD. But anyway, let's take a look at pickups. So that was yet again another look at Toyratt. I've already done a 2016 guided tour up there with the owner himself. Hell of a nice guy. He runs the best video game store I've ever been to. The inventory is unbelievable. You'll find things you never find anywhere else. He's always willing to negotiate prices and everything. He'll offer you a good deal in a way that most people, not to the same extent. I'm not going to say other people don't offer you fair deals, but he will always offer you a fair deal. I love that place, man. And he always gives me especially very good deals. It's just a store that's really like friendly and inviting to go into. Like, there are no locked cages or locked doors in that place. You can go in and just like open any of them and just see, oh, that's the super rare item. I can just open it and take a look, etc., and see if it's worth my investment. And there's a big trust there, and I like that. That's just, I don't know. I like it when you don't have to interact with an employee to open up a door so that they, you grab a game and you check it right in front of them to see if you want it or not. I don't like that kind of pressure, and that store doesn't apply it, which is neat. Now, I got a lot of things over at Toyratt, and it may not look like it because, there's only 2 things on this table, but I assure you, there's a lot more. It's just they're all big items, things that I don't ever see in other places, and I will show them to you, but we're going to have to do a couple of jump cuts here. But for now, let's start with the small items. First, I picked up Ghost Hunter for the PS2. This is a PS2 exclusive, at least for consoles, that I've had my eye on for a while, and I just never really found it for quite the right price. I believe he was asking 20 Canadian which is like 15 or 14 US, so that's what I ended up getting it for. I also got this DCX, which is an import enabler disc for the Dreamcast. I did not actually have this. If you watch the guided tour, I just joked about it in the video. I said like, oh, you actually have something I don't have. And he said he just took a look at it and he's like, yeah, it's yours, take it. It says it in the video. It was, so he gave this to me for free, which was really nice of him to do. I genuinely was not expecting that at all. But there you go. Now, that's all I got as far as software goes. The rest of the stuff, really neat stuff. So we're going to start off with a smaller item first. Now, I got this at his store, but not from him. This was I got this from a guy named Jody who runs a TurboGrafx scene on Facebook. I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. It's a TurboGrafx 16/PC Engine group. He knew I was coming, and he made this up, and he asked me if I wanted to buy it from him, and I did. It's basically a component dock for the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16. It actually fits on either one. You put it in the back, and through that you get component output. It also offers composite output if you prefer for some reason. I don't know why you would, but yeah, you can get component. It's essentially just passing through the RGB that way. He basically sold this to me just for the cost of parts. It also has a bonus feature where it's also designed to allow you to save your games to it. It has a battery slot in the back, so you can put batteries in it and save your games that way. He also told me that you know, if the batteries die while the console's still on, you can take the batteries out and put in fresh batteries, and your saves won't get deleted, which is very, very cool. I was thinking about doing an entire video on this. If you guys are interested, let me know. But I picked that up at Toyratt. However, it wasn't from him specifically, but it's very, very cool. The picture quality is great. Now for stuff I actually got from Toyratt. I got this. This is a Japanese Mega Drive Model 2, aka the Sega Genesis Model 2. But yeah, the Japanese version is different. It has this purple cartridge slot up here. Obviously the shape is slightly different for the Japanese cartridges. The reset button is blue. It has a switch like this rather than just a button like the power button we had. And it doesn't have an LED there, which I found very odd. It's also substantially lighter because it doesn't have RF shielding in it. I was actually thinking of also doing a cleaning video on this. You guys let me know if you want to see that. And now we're going to have to jump to the next item. Movie magic! Next up was a PC Engine in the box. Obviously the box itself isn't in the greatest of shape, but that's okay. I just wanted the PC Engine itself, and as I had already agreed, I was picking it up. He's like, oh, hang on a second. He goes and he comes back with a box, which I wasn't expecting. But yeah, the PC Engine is, of course, the Japanese TurboGrafx 16. It's an amazing coincidence because I bought the component adapter thing before I bought this. I wasn't expecting him to even have a PC Engine. I bought it for the TurboGrafx 16, but it happens to work on both. But yeah, nice little system. It is in need of a cleaning, possibly some de-yellowing. Again, you guys tell me if you want to see that. I could probably do a video on it as well. Comes with the controller, of course, and a power supply. And these old school styrofoam inserts. They don't do that anymore. Check this shit out. A Japanese PSX. Now, if you're not familiar with what this is, and I wouldn't blame you if you weren't, the PSX, when we all hear that term, we tend to think of the PlayStation 1. That's actually a fan-adopted term. That's not really what Sony ever called it. This is what they called the PSX. In fact, the title is it's right there on the machine. What it is a Japanese-only released PlayStation 2. So it can do, of course, PS1, PS2 games as well as DVDs. But it also has a hard drive built in, and it has a lot of media functionality. I believe it had some DVR capabilities, and it was only released there. It didn't do very well, and ultimately was shit-canned. Really, the thing it's most famous for beyond that is that it introduced us to basically the operating system that the PlayStation 3 uses and that the PSP uses, where it's got multiple icons there and you go left to right and up and down, that kind of thing. That was introduced on this machine. Now, the cool thing about this was the price. When I walked into Toyratt, I just said, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, it's good to see you. Like he knew I was coming. But yeah, he's like, I got something for you. I was like, all right. And he comes out with this box with this in it. And of course the remote control here. And he just says, you like this thing? Is that interesting to you? I was like, yeah. He's like, it's yours then. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, just take it. It's yours. I was like, are you serious? Because these things are super expensive and they are super uncommon. And yeah, he said, yeah, go for it. And so then I had to ask him, like, does it work? Because they never do. And of course he said, no, it doesn't work.
but that's not in the slightest bit surprising. If you go look on eBay or even just do a little research on it, you'll find they're always broken. I don't know what it is. Sony just didn't build them very well. Like, even Luke Morse, he's a YouTuber, Luke Morse 1, that dude is amazing at fixing game consoles. Like, I can clean some consoles and get them running that way, but if it's anything other than that, I'm fucked. I can't do anything. This dude is like resoldering joints, and he's doing everything. He's like eons ahead of me in that kind of skill. And he bought a bunch of these, and he tried to Frankenstein them together just to make one working unit, and he couldn't do it. He's like, it can't be done. They're built like crap, which is a shame. But I don't care about that. This thing is purely going to be a display piece for me. It's just really, really cool to have. Maybe I'll do a separate video on it, just show you guys close-ups and all that stuff later. If you guys are interested, let me know. But believe it or not, we are not done. I have saved the best for last. The blue Xbox. All right, now, so this is an original Xbox, obviously. This is an extremely, extremely rare variant. So the story with this is that it was only released in Canada, like specifically this version. It's blue, and it has this silver crystal thing going on here, okay? Now, this was only distributed by one company, a company called Bell. Now, they're a phone company. If you're an American, you could potentially remember them. They kind of phased out in like the early 90s as far as I recall. I remember them as a little kid, and then I think the government forced them to do a split up into multiple companies, if memory serves correctly. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Anyway, they still exist in Canada as one of the primary phone services. And apparently, between October 31st and November 7th, I believe 2004, maybe it was 2005, just for that 1 week, if you went to Bell and you signed up for like a 24-month commitment package to their, I don't know if it was phone or internet, exactly what the deal was, but if you did that and paid them $250, you could have this. You could buy the Bell Crystal, whatever you want to call it, exclusive edition blue Xbox. They came with its own special controller. This, to be denoted by this is the same blue crystal logo, as opposed to this one, which was more common, that has just the regular Xbox logo. Incidentally, Toyratt just threw this controller in for free, so that I would have two blue ones. It also came with a special power supply. It's the traditional figure 8 one, but on the back, rather than just being a plug, it's got this, like, honestly, I don't even know what this really is. I was actually hoping one of you could tell me. It's some sort of, I assume it's some sort of thing to design it, prevent it from causing surges or whatever, a surge protector, sorry. I don't know. You guys tell me. I'd love to know that. But yeah, this is a super, super rare variant of the original Xbox. It is the rarest North American version that was at least widely available. The only one that's rarer was never intended for public release, which is the crystal orange one, which I think Metal Jesus Rocks is the only person on the planet that has one. That's a whole different story. But of all the ones that was actually sold publicly, I'm pretty sure this is actually the rarest one. It's so rare it was actually even hard to find pictures of it, and there's very little information out there, so that's really all I know. I actually had to ask a few different Canadian game stores what they knew about it, and that was kind of like what they cobbled together was that story. So if there's aspects of that that are wrong, I apologize. But yeah, so really, really cool to have this. So basically, he got it in, he like posted it on his Instagram, and I was already on my way over there. And when I got there, I was just like, yeah, where is it? Where's the blue Xbox? It was like, it's right there. So I was like, oh shit, and I just like, you know, I was fangirling all over it. I love the original Xbox. I think you guys have noticed that from some of these videos. I asked him if he would sell it because I wasn't entirely sure that was his plan. He might have been intending to keep it because it's such a rare item. And he said he would. And he gave me, I'm just going to say he gave me a very, very good deal on it. Substantially cheaper. Even if I was paying USD instead of CAD, it would have been a good deal. And then he gave, because it was CAD, it was even better for me because it was an additional 30% off. So yeah, this was, this to me was amazing. Some of you might think the PSX was a better pickup. I don't know. Maybe you think the PC Engine, the Mega Drive, whatever. This to me was the one that got me most excited just because it's such a rare item, and it was something that I never really thought I'd even see, the blue OG Xbox. But yeah, so that's it from Toyratt. Amazing. I mean, he had more shit I wanted to get, but it's like, dude, how much more can I really pick up here, you know? But yeah, it was really a fun time, and I highly recommend you check out that store. And check out a lot of the game stores out there. There's a lot of great game stores in Southern Ontario. They have a huge concentration of them. It's really very impressive. The only place that I've ever found in the States that can even remotely compete with that is like the Seattle area, Seattle, Washington area. There's a lot of great game stores over there. But outside of that, I've never seen an area with that high of a concentration of game stores. It's really very impressive. So there you go. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.